Greetings, Eric Bakker, Naturopath. Thanks for tuning in. I've got a question here from a subscriber. I'm just going to read it out. This is a gentleman called Nolan, Mr. Nolan Carvalo. So Mr. Carvalo is asking me here, thank you Dr. Bakker for your videos. I have Crohn's disease and have been fighting it naturally for the last few years. I've just started your CanXida Remove Program. Should I be taking other supplements at the same time, like digestive enzymes or probiotics? Can you combine your CanXida products or only take one during a period of time? Right, that's a good question. Let's talk about Crohn's in general, Nolan. So I might have completed some videos on inflammatory bowel disease. I actually did quite a big research project on IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, about 6 years ago, which I presented in a college. It was on ulcerative colitis. But Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis are very, very similar. But Crohn's, of course, is much more severe and more insidious and has deeper ulceration, more pathology than ulcerative colitis. Colitis can just basically concern itself with the colon, parts of the large intestine, whereas Crohn's can be any part of the GI tract, the throat, the mouth, the small bowel, anywhere really. It can be a big problem. So my recommendation for you is to follow for a long, long time a low allergy diet. Okay, the hypoallergenic diet. Look at some of my videos on low allergy eating. So you need to be very careful with cow products. No doubt you would have taken cow's milk out of your diet. I'd also recommend the elimination of bananas, pineapples, chocolate, caffeine, alcohol, eggs, definitely eggs. Eggs are one food that you really want to be careful of when you have inflammatory bowel disease. So I recommend you take eggs out entirely for a period of about a month or two, and then put them back in to see what difference it makes with the gut. So you also want to be eating foods that are high in a prebiotic potential. And again, look at some of my videos I've completed on prebiotic foods. Also on my website, ericbakker.com, I've written about prebiotic foods. So these are particularly effective in building the beneficial levels of bacteria in the bowel, which you really want. So I recommend that you get into eating healthy food all the time, avoiding alcohol and caffeine, looking at herbal teas. Chamomile tea is good for inflammatory bowel disease. There's research that comes out of Middle Europe from the 80s that supports chamomile tea very much for ulcerative colitis, but it's also effective in Crohn's disease. Calendula tea is also quite effective, calendula flowers. Aloe vera is particularly good for colitis, but also good for Crohn's. If I had Crohn's disease, I'd be probably growing a lot of aloe vera and then, putting a leaf of aloe vera once per week in a container, swapping it out once a week, filling it up with water, and then having a glass or two of that water per day. So aloe is very restorative of the cells lining the small and the large intestine. So that's quite a good one for you to have. Slippery elm powder, also another good one. CanXida Remove is excellent for inflammatory bowel disease. I can't recommend that you get highly enough that you get a stool test done. Anybody with inflammatory bowel disease will want to get a proper comprehensive stool analysis either through Genova Diagnostics or Doctors Data Labs in Chicago. So you want to do the top level test, which is the level 3, including parasitology. It's very, very, very smart move to do this, especially before a lot of treatment. Don't take probiotics for 2 weeks beforehand. Don't take any supplements at all for 1 week before the test. Do the stool test over 3 days, get the results back, and then let me have a look at them if you want. You can send them, just give me some kind of a message on my channel, and if you want, I can interpret that test for you on the internet, through YouTube. I'm quite happy to do that for you. So the stool test is a very smart move because it will put you in a position where you can measure what you're doing in terms of treatment to see if you're wasting your money or not. So if you take CanXida Remove, you may as well take CanXida Restore, okay, which is the one with the green label on it. So inflammatory bowel patients do very well on CanXida Restore. 1 capsule breakfast, 1 capsule nighttime for tea for probably a good 6 months. Also take CanXida Rebuild at the rate of 1 tablet per day. That's going to give you also extra nutrition and give you a low dose antimicrobial to help to eradicate any yeast or bacteria that are just sitting there underlying. So those recommendations should work for you. But above all, remember to keep positive with Crohn's disease, because it can be quite a disturbing condition to have. But I have got many Crohn's and colitis patients, and in nearly every case, I've managed to work with the client to get their flare-ups down to once per year, if that, where they can live quite a normal life with inflammatory bowel disease. It's totally achievable. But when you've got a severe case of Crohn's to begin with, it's a lot more work. So it's a bit like restoring an old car. If you've got a car that's been well cared for, garaged, looked after, and it's old, it may only need a little bit of restoration. But an older car that hasn't been quite cared for, or been given the wrong medicine or fuel or whatever, you could make it a lot worse and could take a lot more work to get it back into great shape. So, but when it is restored and in great shape, it will generally stay like that for a long, long time. And your bowel is the same. When you restore it, it should stay in great condition. But factors that are going to modify the gut are going to be a lifestyle. So look at some of my videos on adrenal fatigue and stress, because this is one of the biggest, the big nemesis when it comes to inflammatory bowel disease is adrenal problem and stress. That can really cause a lot of problems and keep that gut going. If you can understand the adrenal fatigue concept and identify it and make sure that's not you, you're going to be in a great position to control the immune response to the gut. Check it out. I've done some more videos in that regard. And thanks for your question. I appreciate it.